Okay, so looks like my internet is pretty good. I always gotta check OBS Studios itself to see how well it's doing. Making sure all my input is always working. Okay. I probably can't show this, honestly. Oh, I want to show it in 4K. Bro, now that I think about it, I'm not a premium member anymore because my previous YouTube account got... My previous 2 YouTube accounts, they got removed. They shut them down because of copyright infringements. 1080 is good though.
They're coming. Kiri!
I can't wait to see this movie.
Come on! This way! Go! Go! Keep going! Come on! This way! You gotta get in the water. Come on! Go, 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 go! Come on, come on, come on!
Come on! Swim!
I got you too! You okay? What does that always say?
So they stick together.
No, the other one.
So they never quit.
That's right. Solis never quit. Nothing. Get it!
Quit.
This is the only pure thing in this
like
world.
Donald Trump, he never quits.
The fire came from the mountain,
Like y'all motherfuckers never quit.
burnt our forest.
Okay, this is just a trailer. Yeah, that's just a trailer. Okay, we'll get out of that. Ooh, look it in. Stop. I kind of wanted to show that, even though really trying to show something else. Not this other stuff. Never mind all this. Not that. I wanted to get into... Oh my god. Oh, Wicked, there we go. So, I couldn't understand the movie. I could not understand it. And because of that...
When you start thinking...
Because of that, it's just... It's very bothersome. Because... Oh my god. How do I say it? Wicked is one of those films that's so extraordinary.
When you start thinking there's no place like home, it's...
And I don't really like it. I've never been into
When you start thinking there's no place like home...
Goddamn, Jeremy! You just gonna interrupt me every time? 3 strikes you're out, buddy. Wait a fucking minute. Anyway. I could not understand Wicked, the second one. I understood the first one, but the second one I could not understand. So, I think that I'm just going to have to, like, either rewatch it again or just not say anything about it because, honestly... Oh, great. Now I'm going to have to go into my history. Ain't that something? Get that other video. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe these people can help me figure it out. Maybe they caught something that I didn't. And so, I will gladly listen to them and hear what they have to say. Starting with Jeremy Johns.
There's no place like home, it's always a good idea to phone home. Which you can do with the sponsor of this video. This video is brought to you by Mint Mobile. Just sponsoring this video, I do appreciate it. Alright.
Go ahead and scan. I'll let you scan that, but I don't want to hear what he has to say. Because I gotta get on my show.
First 3 months. I thank you once again to Mint Mobile for sponsoring this video. I do appreciate it. Alright, part 2 / the concluding chapter of the Wicked phenomenon is here. So let's get wicked for good. Or at the very least a few minutes on YouTube. So Wicked for Good is indeed part 2 / the concluding chapter of Wicked. That's right, they Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallowed it. They Kill Billed it. The story was too big for one movie, so they sliced it in 2. Which, gonna tell you right here, goes without say, yes, you definitely should.
He forgot Twilight. Twilight Waking Dawn. It had part 1 and part 2. He forgot that one.
Could watch the first Wicked movie before watching Wicked for Good, but it is my recommendation that you rewatch the first Wicked movie as a refresher before watching Wicked for Good. It's not like you get this previously in the World of Oz monologue at the very beginning or anything. This starts out sometime after the first Wicked movie and we just go. So in Wicked for Good, Elphaba has been vilified as the Wicked Witch of the West. She's been ostracized and vilified for, you guessed it, daring to question the narrative. Question authority. Elphaba's hell-bent on taking down the fraud that is the wonderful Wizard of Oz, while all of those in power have branded her a villain. They're keeping the propaganda machine going. People aren't even...
I don't understand, just because you got to do a little bit more than just go against authority, though. Like, I guess because you wanted to expose the wizard, because he's basically a fraud. He doesn't have magic in him. He has no real power. And you know, that's from the first one. You have no willpower. You have no willpower. That's why I needed you. Yeah, because he has no willpower. But, and I know something that people already know, but so many people don't know because they haven't seen this movie, but I'm not going to spoil it. I didn't understand why they were all after her just because she opposes authority. Like, I understand you oppose authority, but that doesn't really make you want to go after somebody enough to, like, really, like, you got to do something more than that. You got to, like, I guess because she wanted to expose him, because she felt betrayed because she really believed in the wizard so much. That's why she went there. She believed in him more than Elphaba did. I mean, Elphaba believed in him more than Glinda the Good Witch did.
Been allowed to call her Elphaba anymore. It's the Wicked Witch. They did a good job at illustrating that propaganda machine, calling someone the label, the dehumanizing language to get the masses to keep hating them, and you do it enough, repetition, of course they're a monster to the people. They have fashioned it to be that way. Very relevant and real. We've all seen it. So you got character conflict in there. You got Galinda, who misses her friend Elphaba, hates the fact that she's branded the Wicked Witch, but Galinda's playing the part here. But, you know, also really likes that cozy social media cred. People love being loved, and when you fall into that, you're in danger of moving the goalpost of your moral compass. In that's what this movie carries forward that the previous movie had. The frenemy friendship of Elphaba.
It's kind of like a lot of YouTubers. They don't want to waste their cred. A lot of people in general, they don't want to waste their credibility, but they love the spotlight. And when they get on this YouTube, and I'm talking about the people that are trying to copy Jeremy Jahns and Chris Stuckman. They get on YouTube with the sole purpose of trying to just really smash movies. Like, I could smash Wicked and Wicked for Good, but I don't feel like I should do that. Just because it's really... It's disrespectful, and I want people to go enjoy this movie if they're into it before I say anything. And so I don't want to say anything that will, like, dissuade people to go see it. Because, you know, Chris Gore and Alan Ing are film threat. They want people to go to theater, but yet they say things like Tron Legacy was woke because the lead character, an Asian American woman, happened to discover permanence, which was the permanent code that the enemy needed. Yeah, that's true, but that doesn't make her a gore boss. So it's not in any way woke. And to me, I'm just adding more videos to the playlist. You're really just trying to find shit to say at this point. Damn, he's already got a spoiler. See, he's got a spoiler-free review and a spoiler alert. And to me, you shouldn't... I don't really like Wicked. I was ready to hate this movie, but yet, you got a spoiler review already. You know what? Let's just watch what these people have to say, please.
And Galinda at the center of this whole thing. It, for the most part anyway, is a touching story of conflict. Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande do a great job this time around as well. I do think the previous film gave them more to do, specifically Ariana Grande. I was really surprised in the first Wicked film how much Ariana Grande stood out as a comedic force. And yes, I definitely did get the comments of, obviously you haven't seen Ariana Grande in show I forgot the name of. You're right, I haven't. I don't think that's weird. 44-year-old man hasn't seen a lot of Ariana Grande stuff? No shit. I thought she was one of those Disney singer plants that sprung out of a hole in the ground right to the chart toppers. Turns out she is, but yeah, she also was in shows. She still has those comedic moments that stand out. Not gonna say they're not in here. Even the way she curses, she's like, fat. So it's like, got Mormon Galinda over here from the Salt Lake City of Utahs. But at a point in this movie, I am not gonna lie to you, the love triangle stuff just got old for me. It got old because of how it's executed. You have this paramount moment of grief in the film. Should have been, anyway, but still a moment of grief. Galinda and Elphaba just start slapping each other. They're getting all catty, fighting. I was like, oh, I mean...
One of my favorite parts of the entire film. Literally one of my favorite parts in the entire film.
The love triangle thing was in the first film. It just felt a little less CW than it felt in here. I was watching this scene go down. I was like, there are husbands and boyfriends who will never let her pick the movie again because of scenes like this. I mean, the production design in this movie is still amazingly top-notch. Of course it is. It's the same production of the first film. Not like they made the first Wicked movie with all that production, then wrapped, tore it all down, had to rebuild it for the sequel that they made a few years later. First and second movie are all the same production, so of course it looks as amazing this time around as it did the last time around. Right down to Munchkin Land being, you know, average-sized person land. I've heard talk that the musical numbers in Wicked for Good were lacking compared to the first movie. I wouldn't be able to tell you. I'm not at that place with Wicked like I am with, say, the musical numbers in a Metallica album.
Oh.
Where it's like first note, nothing else matters. Eddie Munson setting up his guitar, that first bang, master of puppets, amazing. They could have reused the entire echelon of the first album in this movie. I'd be like, original music, right? No, oh, it's reused, okay. But a big thing that bothered me in Wicked for Good was, you look at the first Wicked movie, it's this interesting take on the Wizard of Oz lore that does take its time and go its own direction. And for the first half of this movie, it does pick up the scepter and feel like that. Then the second half of this movie hits, it's when we're in tandem with the Wizard of Oz events at that point. And this movie feels like it passed the baton to Usain Bolt, who just did a speed run to the end. As much as I'm YouTube guy who bitches about the runtime of movies being too long too often. I felt Wicked for Good could have been longer. There are moments and events that do a flyby here. There were some cool character things that I didn't know they were gonna happen. I've never seen Wicked. Like, the play Wicked. I haven't seen the play at all. I don't know the events of the play. So when characters start tying into certain things that I do know from Wizard of Oz, I was like, oh shit, that's cool. Only thing is they don't do much more with those characters at all. Like, I would have been okay with the Wizard of Oz events taking place in the background. We're kind of doing a flyby if there weren't characters who were now wrapped into the Wizard of Oz events as much as they were. But as it stands, we have characters who have deep emotional conflict who are wrapped up in the Wizard of Oz events. And because the film kind of does a flyby with it, it does a flyby with those character arcs. Other than one of them having the whole Gaston, I say we kill the beast moment in here, I didn't get much fulfillment there. Some of the character motivations are different than what I knew from the Wizard of Oz, so I feel like we're dealing with new characters now, so I can't just watch the Wizard of Oz and fill in the gaps. I mean, the whole point of Wicked is that you can't really. This is supposed to be the true story. Wizard of Oz is propaganda. Plus the fact that Wicked seems to be playing off of the book, not the movie, as seen by the slippers. The slippers aren't ruby slippers. They're silver in Wicked like they are in the book. You know, but still. So I would have liked to have seen more there to get a fulfilling conclusion with characters I've come to know from Wicked. I know there's an argument that definitely could be, well, that's how it's done in the play. Great. But I don't like it, because counter-argument being, there are presentations and executions that work for a play that don't necessarily translate well to the big screen. Like, there's this one big event going down, and it's told through the shadows. Like, you see the thing going down from the shadows on the wall. I couldn't help but see that and think that's probably exactly how it looks in the play. It looked very play-esque, but seeing it on the big screen just made the whole thing feel anticlimactic. Look, in the end, Wicked for Good It's a magical mess. Whereas I didn't feel the first Wicked movie was made exclusively for people who have seen and know the Wicked play. Wicked for Good feels like it was made exclusively for people who have seen and know the Wicked play. So they can take their existing lore knowledge of the whole story and make something cohesive out of this convoluted mess. I feel like I'm going at it pretty hard. I don't hate it, it's just disappointing and definitely doesn't live up to the first Wicked movie. Ironically, the production design begs to be seen on the big screen, and maybe it's worth watching. But if you're drunk. Yeah, now I'm wicked. Alright, so Wicked for Good. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? Or what's your favorite one story divided into 2 parts film? I mean, I hear tale that Kill Bill The Whole Bloody Affair is coming to theaters the beginning of December. I've heard that every 5 years since Kill Bill Volume 2 came out. This time, looks like it's true. Can't wait. Whatever it is, whatever you think, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.
Hey, everybody.
I got a bit of a wacky rant for you here today, so I hope you're feeling particularly goofy, quirky, and my go-to post-workout meal, meaning I would have it like 5 times a week. Side note, I just watched that clip back in editing. The fucking...
Turns out they got a new Hunger Games movie coming out, along with Silent Hill.
Welcome, Penelope. Twice the
Bruh! I wish I could screenshot this. It's got that actress from she's from the from the Ghostbusters movie. I forgot her name. She was in Regretting You. Let me look up her name real quick. And for those of you who are watching, you know who I'm talking about. She's in at least 3 movies this year. 2025. Actress Makina Grace. Genzil. Yeah, she's starting to get a lot of attention. Honestly, I'm gonna save this later at another time.
Today, I am going to be reviewing Wicked for Good. This was directed by John M. Chu. There were a few people on here who gave me a lot of shit for why I didn't review part 1 when it came out at the end of last year, claiming I had some sort of, agenda for why I refused to review it, but no, I'm sorry, there was no agenda.
You see how crazy YouTube is? If a popular reviewer does not review a particular film, or a movie or anything, people want to be all, oh, you don't like it because it's so against your belief system. You're anti-homophobic. And I laughed because I was literally looking at a usher position at a theater here in San Francisco, and in the job description it literally said homophobic. You have to be anti-homophobic. You have to be anti-racist, anti-sexist. And I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, you do not put that in your job description. Because you're assuming that people are going to be anti-homophobic. I mean, really most people that apply for jobs don't care about homophobia whatsoever. As long as you don't, try to throw it in their faces.
Wasn't that interested in it initially. People who have watched me on here for a long time know that, I love musicals, and I think as a genre, it is one of the most cinematic. It just leans into those abstractions naturally, I think, almost more than the horror genre. But, and this is just a personal taste thing, but I tend to struggle a lot with, modern musicals, particularly musically. I'm an old school girl. I like Rodgers and Hammerstein, Leonard Bernstein. When I was a kid, when Wicked first premiered on Broadway, it was the smash hit of all smash hits, I swear. I remember it like it was yesterday. But like I said, it just didn't resonate with me, and that is literally the only reason why I did not review part 1. But then the box office returns came in, and, obviously it resonated with audiences, and it was very critically acclaimed, and I was like, great. So I saw part 1 probably about 4 weeks ago in preparation for this one. As a film, I thought it was very solid. Now, is it a masterpiece? No, absolutely not. There are pacing issues.
You mean to say that the box office numbers came in, you had to make a review about it because you wanted to get the views and likes. You wanted to get some of the clicks. Because every time, if a movie does good, people have to talk about it because they have to make money. They have to draw from the energy that the movie was getting. If the movie gets anything positive, they want to get some of that feedback. They want to be one of those people reviewing a film. It's like the paparazzi showing up around the actors, trying to get them to speak so they can get their story in. That's what these reviewers are doing. They're trying to pitch a story. And to me, you're just if you don't like a movie, and that's the only reason why people are actually watching this movie is because they're trying to review the movie. They want to review the movie because they want to get likes and subscribers. Not that that really matters, I mean, it's nice to be seen, but at the same time, it's like, do you really want that type of stardom? I get on YouTube because it's fun, and because I'm literally just wasting my time, outside of working and applying for more jobs. But yeah, it's just. More on that later.
Choose and turn your brain off while you're watching it. There are certain films I think you can do that with and still enjoy them, and I think this is an example of that. Grand and opulent, and maybe it wasn't the aesthetic that
Sisu, Road to Revenge is one of them. We'll cover that in a little bit.
I personally would have gone with had, I been in charge, but, you can't deny the detail and the ambition of it. It reminds me of those old, 1950s Cinerama musicals, those bright, colorful ones like Brigadoon or like The King and I. And yes, those movies also suffer from some pacing issues, some unevenness here and there, and yet they have the ability to transport you and move you. But yeah, I think you can tell that the filmmakers, they care a lot about what the audience thinks and what the true fans of Wicked think, and I think it's faithful to the adaptation, but it's also trying to give it a bit of a spruce up. I think what was always most important was to bring out the heart of things, the emotional core, the female bond of friendship at the center between the two main characters, Galinda and Elphaba. And I think that this movie succeeds at making both those two women in the movie powerful, lovable, and people you genuinely want to root for. We have this new one coming out for the holiday season as well. Naturally, I was somewhat curious and hopeful about it. We ended things on quite the cliffhanger, I would say, the big finale of part one. Elphaba finally gaining her wings, in a sense, breaking through as a character and finding her liberation. Naturally, that is going to have some repercussions in part two. And I would say part two tries to pick things up right in the middle of that tension, and it stays in that minor key throughout. Things are a lot darker in this one. I would say the risk is higher. It's another classic example of part one. It's like we're taking the time to build up the character setup, we create the tension, so that in part two we can just have the big release of it, and all those loose ends need to be tied up. Does this one succeed? Not for me. It's not bad. I will say that right off the bat. It's just, it's not great. I think it renders as kind of flat and underwhelming. It lacks the resonant obstacles that bring out that personal evolution in the characters where we feel it. And I would say the pacing here, it's even more scatterbrained. Not to say that this doesn't still feel like a really big, grand musical, because it does. And that is one thing that I like about both films. In particular, it's the vocals. The vocals actually sound like vocals. It's not all stripped of all the human texture like we hear in so many of the musicals today, where it's all this digitized, auto-tuned crap. They sound like real voices here, and the vibrato is a little bit more old school, so naturally that's going to please somebody like me just from a personal standpoint. The chorus sections, or like the townspeople sections, all of that, it sounds properly epic. So yeah, I would say in that instance, part two carries still a little bit of that spark that the first one had inherently. Just here, it's a little bit more threadbare, and sadly, especially from a visual standpoint. The first one, it tries to create a world of Oz, a believable world of Oz. Is it for me? No. It does not feel like any Oz that I have ever seen in my life. Sure, it has those like Art Deco touches aesthetically and all of that, but to me, the whole look, it appears more like Atlantis or something. Atlantis adorned in macaroon colors. If you watch a movie like Pearl from 2023, starring Mia Goth, or a movie like Strange Darling, which came out last year, both of those movies create this look that's meant to be reminiscent of like The Wizard of Oz, like an old 1930s Technicolor MGM film. So it's very nostalgic, but it's very haunting, but it's a fantasy look. To me, that is exactly what Wicked should have strived for. That said, again, it doesn't necessarily have to be my personal taste. I still admire the Atlantis macaron look, whatever you want to call it, because you can see the work that went into it. It is a big, lavish world, and I think on a certain level it does connect emotionally. The weakest aspects of the first film were the way that they used the CGI maybe a little bit too liberally, particularly on the animals. It's not horrendous or anything like that, but I've always felt that CGI was an overused tool, and it should be used more to combine practical and digital, not to replace practical entirely. There is a lot more of that CGI in part 2, and for me it just zaps the life out of the movie, and I felt like it robs it of all those intimate moments. What saves the film, yet again, it is the feminine presence, the energy of the two lead women, Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande. They infuse as much warmth into this thing as they possibly could. Okay, I know some people probably preferred Elphaba to lean more into her eccentricities and be more of that outcast who slowly finds that inner voice, that inner strength. But I actually really like Cynthia's interpretation. I think it's quite perfect for the cinema. She really is a force of nature, and I think she centers things. She feels like a calm in the midst of the calamity. She just has this ability to make you feel like she is rising before your very eyes, and it is emotional. I think it is a wonderful performance, and Ariana Grande as well. I think she was absolutely born to play Glinda. Even when you compare her to the OG, Kristen Chenoweth, of course, who is wonderful, I think Grande is superior. From the waif-like demeanor to the humor to the crystal clear voice, she's dynamite. However, I think the problem is that in part 1, we get to experience Elphaba's self-actualization, and I think it's a very satisfying conclusion to that particular film. But part 2, I would say, is more about Glinda's arc. It's where she has to put her big girl pants on, essentially, and she has to deal with the complicated nature of life and loss for the first time. As strong as Grande is in this role, I don't think she's quite as convincing when she has to bring the emotional vulnerability for part 2 in the same way that Cynthia Erivo did in part 1. Grande's strength in the character is the humor, especially when you mix it with the poise and the spirit and all of that, but there's very little humor to be found in this one. I don't mean to say that this movie is completely empty or it has no emotional potency whatsoever. That's not true.
Kind of was empty for me.
It does get you to a degree. I just think it's underwhelming. And there are a few characters, particularly in the first one, that had nice setup, and then here it's like we just drop off, and it feels
there's nothing going
just
on.
Kind of confusing and unsatisfying. I certainly felt that about the Ethan Slater character as an example. And I don't want to give away the ending, but it is one of those cliche fake outs that I think cheapens a lot of the gravitas that comes between Glinda and Elphaba's final meeting. There's a lot of political messaging in both films, but I feel like even though it is quite shoehorned into things at points, it's a little bit more cohesive in the first one compared to this one. I don't know, it just felt off, and I'm not that surprised necessarily, but I was hopeful going into this film. I don't think that people are going to be super angry about it or anything like that. I think it will get a rise out of the mainstream in the way that it wants. Enough, at least. When I went to go see it today, as an example, people were...
Look, Wicked for Good felt void as all hell. It felt like they wasn't even trying. It felt like we did all we can do with the first one. We ain't got to do shit else with the second one. People are going to go see this anyway. It's for money. That might not be. It might not be. Of course, it's not just for money, but still. I didn't feel any attachment to it at all. Like, okay, here's the thing. Any movie... Not any movie. But, I'm trying to make sure I know where my mouse is so I can, click play and get play. Any movie, you kind of want your audience to be drawn in it somehow, to be somewhat involved, at least emotionally or mentally. At least mentally, damn. I went to see Winter Family, and that was a good movie with Brendan Fraser. It's like I saw his movie The Whale, and that was a very emotional movie. But when I went to see Winter Family, it wasn't as emotional immediately, but I kind of was, I guess, but I cried a little bit. And I was invested mentally and emotionally. I paid attention. I actually lost train of thought in Wicked too. Wicked for Good. Here's my mini review. I somewhat did lose attention. And I missed the part where the dude becomes a scarecrow. Sorry, minor spoiler alert. Mild spoiler alert there, my bad. Also, my bad for not combing my hair before this, but anyway, that's how I felt about this movie. No, it didn't feel like they really tried to do anything with it. It was just, we gotta finish what we started in the first one. How do we do that exactly? I don't know. Have them sing a bunch, have them fight about stuff. We got to sort out the love triangle. We got to do that. We got to sort out the whole wizard issue. I felt like there wasn't a whole lot going on. There were a few little subplots. There was the whole aspect of the animals. Apparently, the talking animals were prevented from speaking. They were turned into actual animals by the wizard. The wizard was basically turning them into animals by taking away their ability to speak and their intelligence, such as the goat professor. And we see that in the movie. And that to me, that's the really one true emotional thing that actually did get my attention and made me feel something, was the animals. Anytime you get animals involved. And the thing is, we know animals don't speak. And I think the reason why the wizard even wanted that is because the wizard is actually not from Oz. He's actually from Oath. If you pay attention to Oz the Great and Terrible, the movie with James Franco in it, I think that was 2014, 2010 or something like that. We see that he is from the same planet, or roughly the same area of Kansas that Dorothy herself is from. That's actually why he goes back with her in the original, I think 1939 release. He goes back with Dorothy in that air balloon because he's going back home. They both are from Kansas. If I'm not mistaken, I probably am, but I know Dorothy is from Kansas. I'm not sure if she is from Kansas. If the wizard is from Kansas, not Kansas, but Kansas. Yeah. And so, but anyway, I didn't feel like For Good had anything to say besides a few little points, and the talking animals was one of those points.
Applauding, but I don't see this one getting near the acclaim that the first one did, and I don't see it touching a nerve in the same way that first one did.
It's not.
I think if you do like the first one, you owe it to yourself maybe to see the second one, but, just prepare to be disappointed. But yes, that is my review. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to plug my website as always. It is deepfocuslens.com. I'm an artist. I do commission portraits, and I also sell prints of my work. If that is something that you're interested in, you can always go to the website below, and if you have a question about a commission or a print, you can always email me. My email.
And look, for those of you who want to start talking shit, I'm copying the URL of these, and I'm posting it in the live stream description so that you can follow along. Anybody can click on the link in the description and view them themselves. So that's my way to give these people credit. I'm not trying to, and I'm also subscribing to you, so don't say anything. Those two YouTubers that I was subscribed to, and they wanted to, they got my 2 accounts removed because of copyright infringement, because I was live streaming their videos on my channel. I'm sharing your video in my in my live stream. I'm including the URL. I can barely speak. And I'm subscribed to them. It's really because I was kind of mocking them. I was really mocking one and not the other. The other, and I won't mention the names because they don't deserve it. Actually, I will mention the names. It was Spooky Astronauts. I wasn't really mocking her accent. I just like people with an Australian or British accent because the way she says no, oh no, hi friends. Yeah, but it's also what's her name? The Haunted Hippie. I think her name is Kyle or something or whatever. I was making fun of her because all she does is this. All she does is this. She goes by like Satan's favorite daughter. Anyway,
emails in the description box below as well. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to my patrons.
Bye, thank you. Okay, these are the early reactions.
Our good friends, Alan Ing and Derek Anderson, went on a mandate together, and they saw Wicked for Good. So let's get the two of them together here to give their early reaction. DA and Alan, let's get your early reaction to Wicked for Good, which we will review, Alan, on Friday. What did you guys think?
Yeah, I'll say one thing and I'll pass it to Derek. But when I saw Wicked, the first movie, I thought it was great. I thought it was the best interpretation of at least the first act of the musical. This one's okay.
I kind of felt the exact same way. It was how do I say this? It was the second half of Wicked, and I was asking Alan questions because I hadn't seen anything about it. I knew nothing about it. It was a very angry movie to begin with. I mean, it starts off very angry and very almost like the joy and the happiness and the fun of the original first Wicked was gone.
It's
just a lot of grief and a lot of suffering and a lot of pissed off people, and so I didn't enjoy it from that standpoint. I thought the sets looked great, the costumes are great. Ariana Grande needs a hamburger or two, man. I mean, she was falling out of the dress. Bruh, it was absolutely crazy.
Her rib cage is seen throughout the entire movie.
And look, we're sitting in the front
he's calling her anorexic
row of an IMAX, so we have her right in our face the entire time. Yeah, it was
the IMAX that I watched it in, I watched it at Apple Cinema. I didn't watch it at Weagle. I mean AMC like I normally do. So I didn't see the IMAX that I saw it on was not even an IMAX. It wasn't really they call it an IMAX, but it's not an IMAX, not an Apple, because Apple bought the property of a CGV, if that makes sense, here in San Francisco. The last movie I saw of CGV was actually Avatar: The Way of Water. I saw it, I think, in D-Box 40X or whatever. No, it was 40X because D-Box is something else. But,
unnerving how skinny this chick is, but I think just overall it's all right. I didn't hate it. I thought the songs and the numbers were pretty good. I was a little surprised at the Wizard of Oz stuff that they threw in there. I don't know if I expected that. And then
what's happening at the same time as Wizard of Oz? Okay.
Yeah. So towards the end, you start to see Dorothy show up, and then we find out what's going on with the Tin Man and the Scarecrow. They have all of these various characters starting to pop up. And I thought it was fine. I wouldn't say I would run out and see it again. But I didn't go and see the first Wicked the second time. So, but I thought the first Wicked actually, for a musical, because I'm not really a musical guy like that, but I thought it really was a really well done musical, for the ones that I've seen. 69. I thought, hey, this was actually really good. And I understand why it had the popularity that it had, because it's a well told story. The two characters were Glinda and Elphaba. Good characters. So yeah, I had a good time, with the first. You're fired. This one's just a little bit more depressing. And sad, and then the songs weren't as good. Jeff Goldblum's song in this was the best. But what I'm being told is that really belonged in the first
fleeing the scene.
They redid the song because it was originally the first act. They redid it for the second act, and it's a lot darker.
It's a great song. I thought it was just kind of 5 out of 10.
Yeah, I'll say this: if Universal does anything smart, it's to pull Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo off the press tour, because the things they are saying have nothing to do with the movie. The idea that Oz is this gay accepting place, it's not in the movie. It's not woke. It's not DEI. It's not super gay. It's
it the gayest?
It's not the gayest. And the other thing is, if you know the story, in fact, they spoiled it in the beginning of the first movie, but the idea that Oz is this gay accepting place, well, let's not forget that everyone in Oz wants the Wicked Witch dead, which is super accepting, I guess. I think people who have never seen the musical but like the first movie will like this one. If you are a super fan of the musical, you may have issues with the way they handled the second half.
Well, I have to ask, first of all, 2 questions. One, is it the gayest Wicked movie? And then 2 is, because one of the themes in it, one of the parts is that Elphaba is made to be a villain by the media in Oz. There's propaganda about her being a villain and an evil person. And her, she's not evil.
Right.
Is there some Trump comparison? Is Elphaba Trump?
I mean, we talked about that when the first movie came out, and I think it's still true here. Yeah, Elphaba is Trump.
Green woman bad.
Yeah, Green woman
Green
bad.
woman bad.
Yeah, the media is against her. The propaganda machine is against her.
Yeah.
She can do no. She tries to do good and do what's right, and it's twisted into something bad. And that's what Wicked Witch is doing.
Totally.
Nothing the Wicked Witch can
that's
do
why I
is
say
right.
it was angry. There's so much anger coming out of it just from that. Everybody's trying to basically make her into a bad guy, in every, facet. Michelle Yeoh, Jeff Goldblum, and then Glinda is trying to it's her friend. She's trying to help her friend out, and she's not all bad, even though she kind of has to play along with it as well. But then on the, she's kind of behind the scenes saying, yeah, she's actually not that bad, and maybe we should bring her along to our side and fix things and everything like that. So there's some interest there with that particular character, the way that Glinda and Elphaba work together. But like I said, it feels like such a dour, depressing movie. It's like, geez, I want to have fun. I was expecting to go, and I thought they were going to go back to the school, and then there was going to be some of that school stuff that they were doing, and none of that's in it. So, yeah, I don't know. I didn't like. I mean, really, I thought it was like a 5.
Yeah, really, there are only 5 characters in the second half. All the supporting characters are pretty much gone.
Yeah, everybody disappeared. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess everybody just said. I don't know. That's one thing I didn't know about. Why did everybody just disappear? So let's watch the actual review. Where is that? Yes.
It's time to talk Wicked for Good. Alan, you and I are fans of the first movie, and
in the musical.
I think actually when the trailers for the first movie came out, I was skeptical. I was like, ooh, Cynthia Erivo, Ariana Grande, what is this? And we were pleasantly surprised. I think a lot of that is that the first half of the play is the best part, right? You reach the high with defying gravity, ending it, the sort of cliffhanger nature of what's going to happen to the characters after all of this. And I think you and I were surprised that we like the first Wicked.
Defy gravity.
Wicked for Good, I'll say, is accurate to the second half of the play, which is in every way. The songs are not as catchy. The new songs are really not good. It's sort of dark and depressing, and there are other things that don't work about it because we saw it on Wednesday. I've had more time to think about it. I mean, Cynthia Erivo as Elphaba and Ariana Grande as Glinda, they've got more chemistry than the love interest. The two of them, the 2 women, have more chemistry.
Yeah. Which is true of the play. Let's be honest.
You're right. But Jonathan Bailey as Piero, it's a tragic love triangle, but there is no chemistry whatsoever. He's merely a tool. It's really about their relationship, Glinda and Elphaba. I'm a big fan of the play, but I felt the same way as when I saw the play. It's, what is this second half? You're kind of like, in a way, like Wicked, the first movie, is a prequel to the events of The Wizard of Oz. And the second half of the play rushes to the end. I mean, rushes.
It feels like it's a reason just to wrap things up after the first act.
It's kind of like it's also retconning and being consistent with the movie The Wizard of Oz, with Judy Garland. It's like a commentary on that. Oh, didn't you know, behind the scenes, this is what really happened when the witch got water thrown on her, right? Like, and it happens like concurrently with the events of The Wizard of Oz. And I mean, there are really no spoilers. If you care about spoilers, we won't get too deep into it, but one thing I asked Alan, who's seen it now twice, 3 times.
Yeah, and I'll be seeing it again tonight.
Okay.
I have a wife who really wants to.
Okay. You're forgiven. Dude, you never see Dorothy's face. I thought that they would have expanded, because the flaw of the second half of the Broadway play is that they rush all the events. They rush everything. I thought, well, now you've got, it's twice as long as the second half of the play, the Broadway play, the Wicked for Good, right? It's 2 hours, 17 minutes. The second half of the play is like an hour, less than an hour. They could have expanded upon some of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You never see, like, the Cowardly Lion has like 3 lines in the movie, voiced by Coleman Domingo, but he's got like 3 lines.
Oh, Coleman Domingo? I didn't know.
And you see that the Tin Man is like this bitter, angry, like let's get the witch, let's kill the witch. It's like, it's just, it doesn't match as well the original, Judy Garland film, Wizard of Oz. It doesn't match it as well. The play does a better job, but it doesn't expand on the events. And again, it glosses through, and it's kind of tragic ends for most of the characters have a tragic end.
You know what you're saying? You're saying that everything that they expanded in the first movie was great, but when they do it here, it's bad.
You're right, though. It's true. They did expand things in the first film that actually made it better. And this is now, they did shoot these movies back to back. They were shot all at one time, right? And which is odd, because I think something that they shut down all the interviews with the cast, because Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande are just weird around each other. There's something weird going on. But what's weird, having seen those clips of what they look like in real life now and watching the movie, they look healthy in the movie.
Yeah.
I'll just say that, healthy. And in real life, they both look unhealthy in terms of how skin and bones they both are. Anyways, Alan, I was disappointed. I'm not going to say I don't recommend it.
Don't worry, Avatar will blow this motherfucker out the water.
It's a bare recommend, but I'm disappointed they didn't improve upon the second half of the Broadway play, which is what they had an opportunity to do. And so, and it does have its moments. It's mostly between Glinda and Elphaba. Like, those moments are great.
Yeah, one thing that they added that I liked was they brought the animals back, because the animals were a big part of the first act or the first movie. And in the play, the animals disappear. And here there's that motivation of, they can't talk anymore because they're outcasts now. Look, spoilers. Sorry, they live happily ever after. Okay, you got your spoilers.
Not everybody.
Not
everybody.
Clearly, people have to die in order to get to the happy ending. Okay,
Alan, your internet is kind of.
Remember leaving the first.
I thought it was mine.
Okay.
I thought it was mine.
Yeah, okay. I remember leaving the first movie and saying, "This is a great movie," and I remember leaving this movie going, "Oh, it was okay." And it shouldn't have done that. It should have taken that ball and ran with it, and have still been a great movie. And I'll tell you exactly why it happens. The new stuff. There are 2 songs in it, one from Glinda, one for Elphaba, that are basically, I think, their attempt to get some kind of Oscar nomination for Best Song.
Yes.
Both songs are flat. Both songs have zero meaning to it. Elphaba opens with the song "There's No Place Like Home." and she's telling all the animals who are leaving, exiling themselves out because there's no place for Oz there. She sings, why do I love a world that hates me? And then she says, but there's no place like home. And then she says, there's no place like home. And then she ends it by saying, there's no place like home. That's the depth. That's the depth of that song.
How much was someone paid to write that song?
There's Stephen Schwartz. It's Steve Schwartz who wrote it. And then Elphaba, I'm sorry, Glinda has a song that I just don't remember. And you saw when we saw it together. That was when her song started. That was the moment I got up and went to the bathroom because I knew. And then when I came back, I asked you the question, "What did I miss?" And you said nothing.
Nothing. And another thing that bothered me. We can nitpick this because it's.
But if you're going to add something, this is not a nitpick, because if you're going to add a song that's meant to get best song nominations, you failed. You failed miserably here.
Yeah. Well, Bach, who's a Munchkin, they do this thing where Munchkins are being exiled.
Yeah. Plot point.
A little plot point there.
Plot convenience.
Yeah. How are they Munchkins? Is he a short king? He's not short. The actor who plays Bach.
Yeah, and they're the same height as Glinda. I think Munchkins are a race of people and not short people.
Yeah, they're like I don't know what. It's just is that sort of a like? Well, we don't want to have little people in this.
Heaven forbid.
They're just called Munchkins. They're not what Munchkins are in the original movie, at all.
Yeah. Now let me tell you exactly why this movie falls flat. It's the first movie. The moment it starts, it immersed you in the world of Oz. You were in this world. People were singing, were dancing. There are at least 3 great song and dance numbers throughout the movie. In this one, there is none of that. There is one big dance number between Jeff Goldblum and Ariana and Cynthia Erivo. Fun. But that was it. We are not brought back to shiz. We're not the things, the world that we loved in the first movie is non-existent in this movie. And that's it was like you have these grand song and dances in the first one, and in this one it's just a letdown at that point. And I just remember watching it, feeling like I was an outsider, just observing it, as opposed to being immersed in the world of Oz. And as you say, it's dark, and it's also pretty much practically just a 5-person movie at that point.
Yeah,
everyone else, all the supporting characters you loved in the first movie, gone. And then last
Yang.
Last was the fate of Nessa. Did you laugh at the fate of Nessa? It was like
it was dumb. It was dumb. You should feel that it's tragic. It's actually kind of dumb. So,
but it was, she died out of plot convenience.
That's right, and I don't know.
That's the sister of Elphaba. So apparently, her sister got struck down by the house, the falling house that Dorothy arrives in. But you don't see the house fall on them. It just goes from her being the governor to all of a sudden being dead under the house. So you don't even see her dead under the house. You just assume, I guess, because of the slippers and because Elfa mentions it. I don't even remember I don't know how her sister became. I feel like I need to watch it a second time just to understand how her sister became the governor of Oz. Is there... Let's see what Wikipedia says. Look at the plot. Oh, damn, it's got the plot right there. Okay. 5 years after defying the Wizard of Oz. 5 years, okay, after defying... So, it's been like a year for us, but Elphaba Throb, now known as the Wicked Witch of the West, continues battling for animal rights from a forest hideout. Oh, battling for animal rights. Okay, Glinda Upland, meanwhile, has been positioned as the wizard's spokesperson and always engaged to Fiello Tigla, now captain of the Wizard's Guard, attempts to find Elphaba, but relents when Glinda claims Elphaba does not want to be found. Encounters some animals. Why they capitalize it? Including her former caretaker, leaving Oz, and encourages them to fight against the wizard and his forces. The cowardly lion persuades them otherwise, exposing Alpha as the reason the wizard's flying monkey spies have wings. Alpha visits her sister Nessarose, who has inherited her father's governorship of Munchkinland. Oh, Munchkinland, not Oz, like I thought. Wow. Of course not Oz, because Oz is ran by the wizard. My bad. To prevent Bog from abandoning her, Nessa has revoked the Munchkin's rights. Oh. So Rock is the Munchkin. Oh, that's why. Oh, because her father was a Munchkin. Okay, her father was Golden Munchkin. Okay. Nessa complains about Elphaba not using her magic to fix her Pedophilia, which is her inability to walk. Elphaba she enchants Nessa's shoes, giving her flight abilities. Bog, convinced Nessa no longer needs him, tries to leave, seeking Glinda's affection. So Glinda likes, what's his name? Fiyero, but Fiyero likes Elphaba. But Bach likes Glinda. Nessa attempts. Oh, but Nessa likes Bach. Wow. Nessa attempts to cast a love spell, but it backfires, shrinking his heart. Oh, that's why he's so angry. Alpha's attempt to save him turns him into a Tin Man. But she's trying to make him love whole. Mick Chopper, 10 words. Returns to Emerald City and then back to join him, offering to free the monkeys in return. Alpha almost agrees, but after seeing a speechless Dr. Demon and all the caged animals who forms her fire to fight the wizard and frees the animals during Fiona's wedding. Escape and join all. By spreading a rumor that Nessarose is in danger, decides that a simple rumor wouldn't fool Elphaba. Anyway, I gotta read this later.
I don't know what. I'll just say this: if you saw the first one and loved it, prepare for disappointment. But it's probably more disappointing than the stage play in the sense that they had an opportunity to fix the flaws of the play, and what they did was they amplified the flaws of the play. So you kind of have to see this but you're not gonna. For example, I saw the first Wicked several times in the theater and really enjoyed it. But I've seen this once. I have no interest in seeing it again.
Yeah,
Alan, your final thoughts?
Yeah, the best parts of this movie are the parts that were in the musical, because John M. Chu knew how to shoot those. He knew how to make those grand numbers. There's a love song where basically Elphaba and Fiyero do it, and it was great. The For Good, that's the signature song of the second act. Very good. But it's all the added stuff that just felt out of place and felt like it just needed to be there to wrap things up. Are you muted?
It's ultimately a disappointment. And you know what John M. Chu is doing right now? You're not going to believe this. John M. Chu did a Wicked themed car ad. I think it's for Lexus. I have it in my YouTube history. It's called it's a Lexus car ad. I'm going to show this to you. This is what the director of Wicked was spending his time on. There's a lot of marketing behind Wicked, but here we go. It's called Magic in the Air, Lexus. And here he is with his blonde wife, I guess, and baby. Okay.
I've heard it said.
Oh no! We're gonna get hits. Here he is, John M. Chu, director of Wicked, doing a magical Lexus ad. That's what. There we go.
Because I knew you.
Oh, he's driving the Lexus through the poppy fields. Woo!
Yeah. By the way, good for John M. Chu for having a blonde wife.
Oh man, that's that wow. Let's see. Hold on. Let me see. Let's see what Jonathan Fuji says.
Movie, the bloated nature, just the horrendous visuals, and how many scenes that I didn't find as lively or energetic as I thought they were. Wicked, 2.5 stars.
He is one of my mutuals on Twitter, and he didn't like this movie. He gave it a 2.5 on Letterboxd. He's getting absolutely ripped to shreds right now.
He's not showing his face. Oh, damn. Oh, yeah.
Can't even see it. Ariana Grande is an American singer, songwriter, and actress, known for her 4-octave vocal range which extends. So I know what you all are thinking. And I can't change anyone's mind, but I really went into this with an open mind because I thought it would be so perfect. It would be so me if from everyone I hear is that Act 2 is weaker than Act 1. So I thought it would be perfect if I went into this movie liking it more than the first Wicked, for which I didn't really care for. I was kind of excited to be that person. But instead, after seeing Wicked for good, I'm going to do something I don't think I've done before, which is I'm going to go back to the first Wicked. I'm going to erase my grade, all right? This two, gone. And in comes new rating here, okay? Why am I doing that? Because I think Wicked for Good does not do anything better than the first one. Like nothing. And even though the Wicked stans do not like me, which I get, and are already furiously typing away in the comments, for which I am not going to read a single one. My problem with Wicked was not the performances really at all. They were the least of my concern. And considering Wicked and Wicked for Good were shot back to back, I do appreciate some of the consistency here. And what I mean by that is the fact that the performances in Wicked for Good are still incredible from the main core cast, and consistent in that John M. Chu does not know how to handle this material still. And this one, For Good, really sticks out that point even more than the first one. Because at least with the first one, again, the performances are so great, the songs are so good, The Wizard and I, Popular, Dancing Through Life, Defying Gravity, banger after banger after banger. As has been said by people far more familiar with the material than me, Act 2 does not have those same hits as the first act outside of For Good. So you really feel in Wicked for Good the lack of momentum in this movie. The pacing in this movie is a problem. We got a pacing problem in Hollywood. The first Wicked is significantly longer than For Good. And yet even my wife, who again was sobbing through For Good in this moment, which I'll get to, she was like, man, this movie felt really long. This movie felt longer than the first one. And it's one of those instances where the movie does feel longer than the first one. It's paced incredibly poorly, but some scenes are very rushed. It is one of those movies. Yet again, the people in front of the camera are the ones really pulling the audience through. Because Lord knows the people behind the camera are not doing them any favors. I have heard all there is to hear about Act 2 and people not liking it more than the first one, okay? But I was like, you know what? The darker tone, maybe a more toned down approach into these characters where the first one added some layers that maybe the musical didn't. I said to myself, this has to be the justification for splitting this up into two parts. It has to be. But the material fails the performers. The buildup of Glinda and Elphaba's relationship from the ups and downs within this movie are done so hastily that it does not allow for any moment to breathe until the end. And the Dorothy moments for like the Wizard of Oz and everything, let me just get this out of the way. Have you even seen the musical? It's in there. Great, fantastic. I'm going to talk about the movie here though. That really does feel incredibly shoehorned in and a little bit forced, and not in a way that makes the overall movie compelling in that regard. Let's just talk about the For Good scene. Incredible song, two incredible performers, especially vocally. Oh my god, it is incredibly effective. It is incredibly moving. And yet, John M. Chu and the cinematography of this movie does not elevate the material. I'm gonna repeat myself here, okay? Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande are singing their hearts out and performing their hearts out in a song that is guaranteed to move fans to tears. That's gonna happen regardless. So with that, can I get a little bit more than just them two looking at each other and the camera just circling around them? Can I get a little bit more? Is Hollywood in a pandemic of sauceless directors? Because through the screenplay, this story kind of stumbles around. So much of the conflict outside of Elphaba and Glinda is not developed really at all. I thought with the decision to split this movie in half, I thought they would allow for more time to breathe, to go over some of those conflicts and really hit it home. But it seems like the script was not interested in that. It was interested in hitting the points that the musical does, but really focusing on Elphaba and Glinda. And that's fine if you want to do that, right? That's the most important part. But then it's like, why even bother doing that if you're just going to half-ass it anyway? Everything from For Good on is well done. even with my complaint on how it's shot. It gives them time to sit in their emotions. They sing their hearts out. It's incredibly moving. And in the end, it sticks the landing, especially for those fans. And the ending is the most important part. It's what people are going to walk away from the movie. It's why people walked out of the theater with tears in their eyes, because that's how it hits. It is the things leading up before that in a story perspective only. That is the problem. Now I'm going to hit again. The performances are great. All right, Cynthia Erivo is excellent. Okay, Ariana Grande has more to do, especially with a more somber tone for her character. She actually gets to show a little bit of anger, definitely more sadness here. And again, fans are gonna love the ending, right? I like the ending, so I can't imagine like true hardcore fans are gonna feel. But can I just sidestep to something else real quick? Michelle Yeoh.
It's actually bigger than Lion.
I am going to start a dialogue. I championed her for Everything Ever All at Once so incredibly hard. And I was so happy she won. And she's incredibly deserving of that. What happened here? It is one thing if someone just kind of phones in a performance or kind of sleepwalks a performance. That's fine, you know what I mean? This was just not good at all. John M. Chu has directed her in a very good performance in Crazy Rich Asians. And I understand this role, especially in Wicked for Good, is her just kind of complaining about the Wicked Witch. But wow. Really, I'm just surprised at how much I agree with the people that said Act 1 was better than Act 2. I thought I might like the darker approach. I might like the fact that, you know, the songs aren't as reliant on the hits after hits after hits. Maybe it would allow the more story, allow more character depth. But it didn't really for me. And that bums me out. Especially because, you know, I don't want this heat. If you're a fan of the first, you'll probably like this one, albeit a little bit less. But this won't convert anyone new, unfortunately. I really was looking forward to it. I know no one's going to believe me. But ultimately, as people like to tell me, no one asked for my opinion. This movie's going to make a lot of money, and the hardcore fans will like it, because no matter what this movie was going to be, they're going to like it, which is great. Happy for them. For me, the performances are great. I think the ending sticks it. Everything before that, not for me. John M. Chu, your best scene is still the card scene, and Now You See Me Too. Wicked for Good, 2.5 stars. Hopefully, the backlash is not as intense as the first. And I will see you guys very soon. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Please subscribe. Okay, goodbye.
Really? Bruh. I did not know that.
Wicked for Good is the second and final film in the Wicked film series duology, as it would be. This film once features director John M. Chu.
Man, you're boring me, buddy. I'm sorry. I don't want to listen to him. It's going slowly. See what John Campier thinks.
Well, as I mentioned a little bit earlier in the show, I'm already in Dallas. And last night I went to the Cinemark Dallas to go see an early Amazon fan screening of Wicked for Good. Now, look, I never went to go see the stage play. So I walked into the first Wicked only seeing it because it's this big cultural phenomenon.
Oh my god, come on. What's going on? I don't know what's going on. Got more technical issues now. Shall we watch something else? Is that what we need to do? In the playlist for Sisu. I like Sisu too. I think that was really good. I'm glad I'm not the only one that didn't think that Wicked 2 was really good. Cause it really was. It's to me it's just a spectacle. Like if you complain about Avatar being a spectacle,
Well, as I mentioned a little bit earlier in the show,
then you should really just watch Wicked part, for good. Because they're right, you'll be changed. Yeah, you won't think any more of it really. They spent a lot of money on like Lego, and iPhone, and Google Pixel, merchandising. I was gonna look up something. What was I gonna look up?
good. Now, look, I never went to go see the stage play. So I walked into the first Wicked only seeing it because it's this big cultural phenomenon. I was quite surprised how much I liked it. Like, I really enjoyed Wicked, and I had no issues, no problems whatsoever with the fact that it got nominated for Best Picture. The characters were charming, the dynamics were wonderful, the music was catchy, the visuals were gorgeous, the cinematography, like, I can't remember the number, Rob. I think they said like a lot of the effects and the setting was practical. Like they said something about 10 million flowers they literally brought in from overseas to populate the sets and everything. And it's like, it was just unbelievable. It was a wonderful work of the craft of movie making. The whole movie was just wonderful. So Wicked for Good part, which is the second part of Wicked, comes out. So I went to go see it last night with kind of high hopes. And I gotta say, I did not like it as much as the first one. And it mostly comes down to the first half of the film, because I'll be honest with you, I was watching the first half of the film, and I'm sitting in the theater, and I was by myself because Anne doesn't show up. Well, Anne's flying in here from Chicago today. She actually should be here within the hour. But so I went last night by myself, and I'm sitting there, and I remember thinking, this just isn't good. Like, all that charm that was in the first one was completely absent in the first half of this movie.
Uh-oh.
Part of the thing that I loved about the first movie is just getting to know these characters with was filled with whimsy and like I said, I use that word again, charm to it. It was really just delightful watching them play through all of it. And then the first half of it just felt very mechanical. It felt very, and it's odd to say this about a movie, scripted. It didn't feel organic. It didn't feel like it had that spark to it that the first film had. It just felt like they were going through the motions. Okay, we got this plot point and this plot point. We're just kind of grudging their way through the story until they could ultimately get to where they were going. And then suddenly, and thankfully, about halfway through the film starts to get more serious and a little dark. And it's not because it got serious and dark that improved it. It's just at that same time that the film took a turn to become darker and a little bit more serious, it found its rhythm. That heart came back. Suddenly the film had something to say on its own, not just as a continuation of the first film. And it became a lot more enjoyable. And I'll say that by the end of the movie, I had a good time. So by the end of the movie, when it's all said and done, I'm going to say I like this film. I'm going to go watch it again in Orlando, and I'm looking forward to seeing it again. Again, it's just that it really did a nice turnaround, because
it was
I saw Running Man, and I had the opposite experience. I liked the first two acts of Running Man, and I really didn't like the third act.
Ain't that about
and the third act was so bad to me, it kind of ruined the film. But the first two acts are still good. This was the opposite. It was the first half of the movie that I didn't think were very good. But the second half was so strong, it made up for the first half to me. And since I said that in my Out of the Theater review, I had a few people write to me saying, yeah, that's the way the stage show is too. A lot of people don't like the second half nearly as much of the stage show. So I thought that kind of tracks. But overall, it's a win. This one, I should say, is definitely more Ariana Grande's movie.
What are you thinking?
In the first film, both Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande are the leads, but they kind of pushed Cynthia Erivo in the lead category and Ariana Grande in supporting.
There's so much ass.
This one, a little bit more of the spotlight's on Ariana Grande, so I won't be surprised if they run her for Best Actress and Cynthia Erivo for Best Supporting going into this year's Oscars. But anyway, yeah, I enjoyed it. It finished strong, and that's the important thing. I just wish the first half of this movie was a little bit stronger as well.
You know, he's just repeating himself, right? I know I will repeat myself, but damn, you're seeing the same thing over and over again, buddy.
Anyway, Rob, what are your expectations going in to see this movie?
Well, I mean, like you, the first Wicked, I think, is a delight, an absolute delight, and I have a lot of expectations.
They're trying to say good things because they don't want to get hurt. They don't want to get smashed. I'll say it sucked.
I'm mostly curious as to how this works split up, and what it's like to see them all as one long story. I mean, I think that was an audacious choice to break this movie in half. I mean, obviously, financially, it's probably going to work out very, very well. The ticket sales are huge, obviously. People love this franchise of films. But I'm expecting to enjoy it. I've been told that, like you, the second half of the play wasn't as great. Did they repeat any of the songs from the first movie?
No.
For the first half? Yeah, so you got new...
There are moments when there's there's music playing as a character's walking from point A to point B. That was definitely what's the big song from the first film? Defying Gravity. You definitely hear ba, 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 ba. You hear that music playing in the background, but other than that, they don't actually repeat any of the songs from the first one.
Yeah, well, that's good. I mean, look, I'm looking forward to it. I think a lot of people are, and I just hope it's a great time at the picture show. But I am curious because I do, someone will do a supercut. I want to watch the whole thing all at once and see how it plays.
Yeah, it won't be hard. They do suggest there's a time jump in between the end of the first one and the beginning of the second one. Not too significant, but a little bit of a time jump. But I have a feeling they will flow together very well because you remember the first movie starts with Galinda going into Munchkinland, and that's kind of where it picks up at the end of this film. It goes back to that. And so it all ties in very well that if you did sit down and watch this as one big continuous movie, it would feel very seamless.
Yeah.
I think it would be very, very seamless. So,
guys, we want to take a second to thank the sponsor of today's video, Zapier. You know, one of the biggest game changers of the past year has been AI. But let's be real, just talking about AI doesn't actually make your day any more productive. What does make it more productive is finding tools to put AI to work for you. And that's where Zapier, that's Zapier.com/Campia.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Right now, the audience score for Wicked for Good is like in the high 90s, 97% right now.
Let's look at that score. It might take a little bit to refresh because I'm going through an internet issue. I think there's an internet outage still with Verizon. Funny, I just switched to the ultimate plan. It's good.
The critic score is a little bit more tempered at 73, but still very positive. Again, I was kind of bored in the first half, but I thought the second half got quite strong. Whatever you guys thought about it, if you saw one of those screenings last night, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.
Okay. Adam Does Movies.
Well, here we finally are with the sequel to Wicked, of course, naturally titled Wicked for Good. I'm a stickler for the details, so it's always nice when you have a part one and then a for good follow-up. That is some perfect Hollywood logic. Terrible naming conventions aside, how is this sequel though? Well, I saw it last night at a couple-day early premiere, and I'm here to tell you about it in a spoiler-free review, so let's get on with it. Before I give you a lay of the land, if you wouldn't mind casting a spell on the subscribe for YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, I would appreciate it. You can find the show Adam Does Movies in all those places. I'm Adam. I do the movies. Let's do Wicked for Good. What we have here is a PG 2-hour and 18-minute film that runs very quickly. I would argue it could have been even longer to kind of flesh out some of the multiple story threads that are happening. It's PG for a scant amount of action, and at one point Elphaba even shows her shoulder. Ooh, naughty. And speaking of alphabet soup, Cynthia Erivo's back. She's donning the green again. She's donning the hat, the garbs, the whole 9 yards. A solid performance once again, really selling me as this witchy woman. Joining her once more is her BFF, Ariana Grande, as Glinda the Good. But as far as Ariana Grande's performance is concerned, I would say she's Glinda the Great. Because wowie wow wow, what a performance this time around. She gets more focus from a character standpoint, thereby giving our little pop princess more room to grow and flourish. Not only is she knocking the music out of the park, she's providing those emotional moments that really do land. There were several moments in the film where I was kind of like, what is that taste? What is that salty discharge? Oh my God, those are coming from my eyeballs? They are called manly tears. The last time I shed some was when John Wick died. We need to fictitiously pour one out for the Baba Yaga. And listen, even though Ariana Grande does steal this movie and should be up for several Oscars, that's not to knock Cynthia here. She's putting in the work as well. It's just she's not quite the star she was in the first film. Outside of these two, we're also going to spend more time, of course, with the Ozman himself. Played by Jeff Goldblum. I use air quotes because Goldblum's always going to be Goldblum at the end of the day. Here is no exception. He's dancing around, doing his silly little quirks, his stumbles on words. He's just charming and fun every time you watch him. Even if he's doing something sinister, you just can't help but fall in love with the guy. Michelle Yeoh's back as Madame Morrible, which sounds a lot like horrible. I suppose that's on brand for the character. That was probably intentional now that I think about it. This movie's so complex and intricate. She's fine. She didn't have as much screen time as I was anticipating, and I felt like her character arc was a little underbaked, but I could say that for most things in Wicked for Good. Like I said, this film could have gone much longer. I wouldn't have minded a full 3-hour film, and this is for someone that absolutely whines and pouts if a movie's over 2 hours. But this one justifies it, because you have a lot of different storylines going on, from all the animal abuse things in the first film, to the shunning of the Munchkin community in this one. Plus you have the building of the Yellow Brick Road. Then you have Elphaba and Glinda's Sam and Diane off and on again relationship. Plus you have all the Wizard of Oz stuff from the first film with Dorothy, the Tin Man, the Lion, the Scarecrow. That gets a bigger push in this one as the second half of the movie is tied to that film. And that's going to be my big gripe with Wicked for Good. By the way, a movie I very much enjoyed. I think you're going to have a good time. If you like the first one, really don't have any complaints as far as nailing all the things I wanted to. It's the little things that kind of annoyed me in this one. And the biggest one is assuming the audience is familiar with The Wizard of Oz. Now, a lot of people that listen to me and watch this are going to go, yeah, who wouldn't be familiar? It's a classic. You would be surprised how many youngsters haven't seen a movie from the 30s. The Wizard of
True, very true.
Oz came out in 1939. It has not held up impeccably well. I still think it's great, but you have to go into it understanding when it came out, the technology at the time, and just the way that things were filmed and how people performed those roles. It's night and day compared to what we have now. We have Emerald City on full display. There are vehicles flying all over. There's banners dropping from the sky. They're writing things out in the clouds. The only thing that's comparable is the fact that they're both colorful, whimsical adventures. But there's going to be a good chunk of folks that go to Wicked Part 2 and have no idea who Dorothy or Toto or even some of these other ragtag characters are. And even though the movie does kind of build some of them up in a very creative way, by the way, it also does a very poor job explaining who Dorothy is, why she's there, and what purpose she represents for this story. And I think that's a big issue with the film. If you haven't seen the original Wizard of Oz, and even if you have, it's not like the stories match up 1-to-1. Hang-ups aside, as I stated, I very much enjoyed this movie, much like I enjoyed the original. I don't think this one's necessarily more watchable than the first film. The first one's just more fun and lively, and there's a lot of great music. This one has some good songs. The main breakaway performance from the two leads is just phenomenal.
My
I believe
ass
it's
is
titled
tired.
For Good, and it's easily my favorite song of both the films. I should also
'Cause
point
he's,
out I'm not familiar with the
paralyzed.
source material, the book or the Broadway musical. Both things I have been told are lifted into this movie in some capacity.
Bruh.
For me, I was surprised going in, naive and unfamiliar that this film wasn't darker than it was. I was led to believe the second half of Wicked was going to be very dark, very disturbing. There's all these animal abuses and things like that. And I was left with a movie that seemed pretty damn tame. And I'm not even necessarily knocking that, because the direction it goes, where people end up, it felt very satisfying and it felt true to what we had previously. So from that aspect, I'm just going in as a movie lover, not so much how does this stack up to those other pieces. Visually, director John M. Chu, who did the last film, he's back here doing this one. I think maybe he took some of the criticism to heart, and I appreciate that, because a big hang-up some of us stingy critics had was the look of the first film. Even though there was plenty of eye candy, the costumes were fantastic, the world he built up was truly a spectacle, something that you could absolutely see being a land at Universal down the road. He kind of undercut some of that stuff with some of the odd natural lighting decisions that he made, having that sunlight blow out the foreground character.
Hold on, just a second.
Display.
Shiz.
I scare you?
I'm a public figure now. People expect me to
Fly?
be all time. Hi, Dorothy. Bye, Dodo. It's just that one road the whole time.
People are saying that a Dorothy has been cast.
I have heard that.
Your reaction?
Half a decade has passed since the events of the first movie, and Oz's political order has fully taken shape. Elphaba's reputation. At the same time, Madame Morrible has his position as his heart to shrink. Elphaba's attempt to undo the damage accidentally turns him into a Tin Man, the Wicked Witch of the East. Elphaba returns to the Emerald City to free the wizard's enslaved flying monkeys, but her plan is discovered. The wizard and Morrible to draw, but Elphaba senses something is wrong with Nessarose and rushes off, with Fiyero directing her to hide. Learning that Glinda has given Nessa's enchanted shoes to the home's occupant, a Kansas girl named Dorothy Gale, Elphaba confronts her before she is restrained by the wizard's guards. Fiyero intervenes, sacrificing himself to ensure Elphaba can flee. Back at Kiamoko, desperate to save Fiyero, Elphaba performs a spell from the Grim Eyrie and resigns herself to becoming everything Oz believes she is, no good deed. Later, spurred on by the transformed Bach, the people of Oz band together as an angry mob to hunt her down, March of the Witch Hunters. Glinda soon discovers that Morrible was responsible for creating the tornado that brought Dorothy to Oz. But when she confronts Morrible, she eventually captures Dorothy in an good. While hiding, Glinda watches as Dorothy throws water on Elphaba, who appears to melt. Chistery, now able to speak, leads Glinda to the green elixir bottle Elphaba once showed her at Shiz. Glinda confronts the wizard with the elixir, leading him to realize that he is actually Elphaba's biological father. Overcome with guilt for the suffering he caused her, he leaves Oz in his hot air balloon at Glinda's insistence. She becomes Oz's new leader and orders that Morrible be handed over to the monkeys for her crimes. She finishes recounting the story to the Munchkins and restores the rights of animals, honoring Elphaba's wishes. Meanwhile, Fiyero, who has been transformed into a scarecrow by Elphaba's spell, arrives at the site of her melting, tapping on the floor. Elphaba emerges, alive, having faked her death to disappear from Oz forever. The two depart together, a wicked good finale. Thanks for watching, everyone. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Cheers.
Characters and wash out some of the beautiful colors. That's mostly gone in this film. There is still a little bit of murkiness here and there, but I thought the colors were far more vibrant. The world felt more alive because he got rid of that natural looking crap that he's doing the first time, and it just makes for a better watch. I also spotted a good amount of practical effects mixed in with a bunch of CG. The CG, very cartoonish. The animals never look real. They do the job, though, in this world that we're playing in, so that's fine, not even necessarily a knock. My only other gripe, and this definitely weakens this film as far as story is concerned, is just the consistency of our witch's powers. We have established that Elphaba is incredibly gifted. We've seen her levitate things across the room. At one point, she's kind of like going through her spell book, and there's just potions and stuff floating around her. And so when scenes take place where there might be a couple guards in the room that have her surrounded, or a friend is in danger, and her only reaction is to just fly away or do something else that seems a little bit nuts, considering she could just force push the guards, or I don't know, just do any magic at all to try to get out of the situation. It's puzzling, and it feels like it's more a story convenience to get people to the places they need to be, rather than a true to form thing the character would do. And there's a lot of that throughout the script, because it is moving along at a very fast pace. It doesn't have time to really flesh out stuff. And so when you have a Harry Potter-esque type character like Umbridge, who barely does the Dolores Umbridge stuff, just hints at it, I was sitting there thinking, like, do I need to fill in the blanks here? Am I to believe this person was doing evil deeds for a few years now? Because there seems to be a bit of a time jump without really explaining the time jump. There's just stuff that I would have liked more fleshed out. Perhaps there's a director's cut that can solve that down the road. But as it stands, much like the title suggests, this is wicked for good. I wouldn't say it's wicked for great, unfortunately. And it easily could have got there had it put more focus on a tighter narrative, or blown this movie out even grander, spent an additional hour, or chopped this up into a trilogy. I think that would have been fine too. Because honestly, the characters in this are great. It also feels like there was far more to explore in this world, and I would have loved to spend more time in it. So I guess I've talked myself into maybe more hangups than I initially thought when I started the review. One thing is certain, I was fully engaged throughout the entire runtime, never a dull moment. I was with these characters on this journey, and it's a testament to the film that I wanted more, seeing as I didn't give a crap about Wicked going in, and I honestly thought the first film looked terrible when they released that trailer years ago at the Super Bowl. I was kind of scoffing at it and laughing, like, this looks terrible. This doesn't look like it's going to be anything. The movie won me over. The story had enough going on to keep me invested, and this movie thankfully stuck the landing on all of the major aspects, and that's a win. I think the fans of the first film are going to be very happy with where this ended up. I cannot, however, speak to the book readers and the Broadway fans, but the good news for both of those groups is they already have the books and the Broadway, so we separate all this stuff and we take it for what it is. And what this is a very nice conclusion, one that the whole family can enjoy. And again, if you found yourself enjoying this review, feel free to subscribe to Adam Does Movies on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. It takes less than a clock tick for you to just hit that sub and walk away, and I would appreciate it. That's a phrase that they use like 5 times in the movie. The writer was so proud that they put it in the film several times. I might have even got it wrong, but I just remember hearing it over and over again. All right, that's all I got for you. Hopefully I see you next time. Take care.
Movie, the bloated nature, just the horrendous vision.
Okay, sorry. Okay. I don't know how much longer I can go with Wicked. I kind of want to change pace here. But I'm also kind of tired. So, I'm also just gonna... Is there a short video view I can watch? I thought this movie was really good. But yeah, I'm gonna continue this later. I promise. I usually break them down, but I gotta. I gotta continue with reviews for Sisu and Winter Family. So yeah, I didn't think Wicked was that good. I honestly didn't.